Hi and welcome back to Quinwapa Creations video tutorials. This week our video tutorial is on how to make my beaded turtle keychains. We will be using my Nymo nylon thread size 0 and John James beading needles size 12, and that so that they will fit the Charlotte cut seed beads. The keychains are then put on a very stiff hard leather, and then bells are attached. In the first part, we're going to just do the beadwork. So we'd be using our Pelon, and I use sketch pad paper. I have a notebook. It makes the beadwork more stable and firmer. And I'll be doing the 2-needle method with the beading needle and a sewing needle. We're going to baste, stitch the Pelon to the sketch pad paper, just real big basting stitches to hold it down. And then we'll start our first row. The first row, which will be down the middle of the turtle. We'll be using the fire colors, and there'll be 2 of each color. 2 black, 2 red, 2 orange, 2 yellow. And then we'll sew down every 2 beads. And once we get the row down and start sewing down the 2 beads at a time, that's basically your 2-needle method. 1 needle is to string the beads on, and the other needle is to sew the beads, tack the beads down. And 2 at a time helps you have more control over where you put the beads and how close they are to each other. And once the first row is finished, you're just going to put the second row of beads right next to it. That's going to be the middle of the turtle's body. So just put the same amount of beads on, and you'll put your needle so that the second row is just the same length as the first row. And when you tack down your beads, you're going to match up the colors. The 2 black to the 2 black, 2 red to the 2 red, 2 orange to the 2 orange, and so on. And that gets the row to be the same size as the other, because the beads may all be different sizes. And then once the 2 middle of the body are in there, then you're going to put a whole row of the solid green around those 2 base body rows. So you're just going to put that solid row around the outside edge of those 2 main rows. The 2-needle method, you just have the whole string of solid green beads, and you're just sewing down 2 beads at a time until you get all the way around those 2 rows of the turtle's body. And when you get to the end of the row, you're going to go back through the first 2 beads you put on. This allows for the rows to connect together, close the gap, and you don't see the disconnect of the line or the row. The beads lay right next to each other, as if it was one continuous row all the way around. Then you'll start the second row all the way around, which will be plain black. Plain black will kind of make the fire colors pop and kind of pull the whole color and design together. And you'll just two needle stitch that all the way around. And when you get to the end of that row, you will run your needle back through the first 2 beads that you put on, and that will just close that gap and connect that row. You go down to the underside, and when you come back up, you're ready to start the rows with the designs. The first row, you're going to start the 2 white beads, and then the fire color to start the base row of the triangle design. So there will be 2 white beads on the end of the rectangle, and that's for the little feather in design. And then you'll have the fire color base to start the triangle. So there will be a feather triangle all the way around that turtle body base that you made. You just continue that design all the way around, and it should fit. Kind of making sure that the design is what the first design is on the corner, and then the second design is in the middle of the body. And then you'll just go back to the first 2 beads and finish that row off. And then you'll be ready to come back up and do the second row of the design. Second row of design will increase the feather design to 3 beads, and you'll add the background color in between, and then you'll decrease the triangle design, taking out the yellow. So, and then you're just going to match it up. You're not going to try to get the beads to fit around the outside. You're going to get the beads to fit next to the design. This may leave a little bit of gap between beads, but you can't really tell what the design once it's all finished. So the design, as I said, takes out the yellow bead, and the triangle is decreased, whereas feathers are increased. And then there's a background color added in, just 1 bead all the way around. And you just sew that row all the way down, all the way around. And you'll be ready to start the next row of the design. The next row of the design starts adding the black to the little feather design and decreases the triangle again by taking out the orange bead, so that you're going to use the background color in between the little designs. And usually it uses 3, depending on how the design sits with each other, but it should be 3 solid green in between each triangle and feather. And that's how it should work all the way around. And then that, like I said, we'll start the black of the feather and decrease the triangle by one bead. And then you just stitch down 2 beads at a time all the way around. And that is the next row of your design. And then the next row. Oh, I'm sorry, you're going to go through the first 2 beads. I apologize. Finish the row off. And be in the position to start the next row. Kind of got ahead of myself. So the triangles are decreasing and the feathers will also start to decrease. And you're just going to have 2 black beads for each feather and each triangle. And you will put enough solid green beads, background color beads, to make sure that those 2 black beads are sitting in their position on top of the design, and enough beads to get the 2 beads to sit on top of the feather design. So it should be 4 beads, but on the corners of the turtle body, it will increase because it's going around the circle. So you're just getting enough green beads to make sure that the black beads are sitting on top of the triangle and the feather where they need to be. And then go back to the first 2 beads and finish off that row. Your final row of the design is just real simple. What you're going to do is have 1 black bead on top of each feather and 1 black bead on top of each triangle, with enough green beads in between to make sure that they're sitting directly above the position that they need to be in all the way around. And that finishes off your design row, and they all should be all the black beads should be right at the tip of the triangle and the tip of the feather all the way around. And you're going to go back to the first 2 beads and finish off that row. And it should work out just fine. You go back down and you'll come back up. And the final row of the turtle body is just solid green. And it's finished. The beadwork is finished for your turtle keychain. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you watch the tutorial 2 for this demonstration. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for coming again. Bye.